The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Open your eyes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Open Your Eye. We are two patients journeying through the realm of psychedelic medicine on social media and here on the Pace Radio Network. I am Kim Cooper, and I'm joined by my joint host, none other than the lovely Miss Cindy Howell. How you doing?
I'm really awesome. How are you, Kim?
I'm doing pretty good. Glad to see you back in your hometown. You're done with your travel.
I am. I've
Road
been
trip.
home since Thursday, and it's been pretty amazing.
Awesome. I followed along on your journey out there to BC. It looked like you had a blast. You've seen tons of activists in all kinds of different spaces, both cannabis as well as the psychedelic world. We are going to catch up with Cindy about her entire journey on our next show, 14 days from now on the 24th. We will be back with a spotlight on the wonderful Miss Cindy Howell and her journey to BC and her experience with an iboga ceremony. So I'm really looking forward to that. This week, we've got a really cool guest joining us and our first returnee. I'm real excited about that. Before we bring him in, we got a really cool news item too today, don't we, Cindy?
Pardon me. Yeah. I'm gonna put that up. It's kind of an interesting story. I happened across it this morning, and it comes to us from the Psychedelic Spotlight. We're talking about a center, a center to fight addictions, and it's why Dimensions Health Center founders embrace plant medicine ceremonies over clinical treatment.
Yeah, this is a very cool story coming to us from Canada, right here in good old Ontario. The psychedelic industry is on the cusp of a big boom in Canada, they say, thanks to the government's health regulation agency allowing a Section 56 exemption to its Controlled Substances Act, giving researchers, healthcare professionals, and selected patients access to psychedelic plant medicine. I'm going to put a little note in here. Section 56 exemption has been available for several decades here in Canada. It's just become common knowledge these days and highlighted in the media. But it has been around with patients having a Section 56 exemption for several decades to use psychedelic medicines right here in Canada. Back to the article, it says, while most companies emerging in the industry see an opportunity in synthesizing these compounds to make their own patented blends in pill form, Dimensions Health Centers plans to embrace the ancient methods of healing as they prepare a launch.
Yes. This is really exciting. There's dozens, if not hundreds, of psychedelic companies merging over the past few years. Most of them are trying to identify that magic molecule, but we're a bit contrary to that, says CEO Christopher Dawson. We're actually quite passionate about respecting the traditions of healing from the Southern Hemisphere. We're talking about honoring the whole plant, the tradition, the ceremony, and all of those aspects. Dawson appeared on the Psychedelic Spotlight podcast this week. That would have been last week, with his Dimensions co-founder and COO, Andrew Galloway. Both have extensive experience working with clinical addiction treatment space. They work together at Edgewood Health, in the Edgewood Health Network, which is Canada's largest mental health treatment organization, before teaming up for their latest venture, facilitating legal and safe use of psilocybin at a luxurious retreat space in a beautiful natural setting. And that is just so exciting.
It's just fantastic. It is super, super exciting. And I mean, I am just over the moon about this. Their first center is set to open very close, 2022. That's only a few months away. And they will be located deep in the forests of Ontario. But they're planning locations in the Caribbean and in Central America. Well, I kind of live deep in the forests in Ontario. I wonder if they're going to be near me.
Ooh, that would be kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an all-inclusive experience rooted in traditional plant medicine ceremonies that cultures around the world embraced long before psychedelics were ever a taboo subject in the West. Preparation, however, begins with individual alternative therapies and spa rituals like yoga, breathing work, Reiki, massage therapy, and winds down with the integration dialogue. I believe that it's really important to be doing this in a natural setting in nature, Galloway says. We're really creating an environment where each guest is going to be able to have a choice of the type of individual therapies they'd like to do in preparation for their ceremony. And then obviously the ceremony is done in a fairly traditional way. And then afterwards, it's all about how we integrate that experience that we had during the ceremony prior to our daily lives. And
Absolutely.
How true is that?
Oh, I know you can speak to this firsthand. I'm so excited to get into this with you later on. Galloway, who is an addict himself, he spent years quietly treating childhood trauma with psychedelics. And he says integration was a key component of the countless retreats that he's done through other providers. There wasn't a lot of preparation going on, he says in the podcast. You set intentions, and then afterwards, there wasn't a lot of dialogue. So that's the part that they're looking to change. He goes on to say that's an integral part of what we're going to be doing, Galloway adds. The dimensions will also create what Galloway describes as continuing aftercare program to keep their clients connected to the experience and keep the door open for them to have more like it at other retreat destinations as well. I mean, exciting stuff, right?
Yeah, and it's very, very important to integrate afterwards and to pay attention. It's a large part of the therapy, because if you go and you get healed and then you come back to all the same stuff and you go fall back into all the same patterns, you're kind of losing what you've just healed. The founders
That's
are
right.
entirely throwing away the Western model of therapy that they spent years cultivating in clinical settings. We're as excited about the reemergence of the plant medicine or the reemergence of psychedelics as we are about advancements in neuroscience and neurobiology and the linkages that are coming from these two, says Dawson. And I have to agree with that. Psychedelics, they're an amazing medicine. They can greatly and epically change lives, but they are not a one and done. It takes work before, during, and after. As they're calling it, integration. While the previous experience yielded a great understanding to the science of addiction, Dawson admits that the dull clinical ambiance of the treatment centers they have both worked at previously may have had actually a triggering effect on clients. Something they hope Dimensions Health Centers natural settings will eliminate.
Yeah, for sure. And I can relate to that. I mean, the setting is everything for sure. As an amateur psilocybin user, I can tell you that setting means everything when you're doing this as a therapy. He goes on to say, no matter how long you've been sober, once that triggering mechanism takes place, you're going to fall back into those old behavioral patterns. And part of that is recognizing and understanding what the trigger mechanism is. Dawson says, so while we're immersing people in nature, We're as invested in creating a safe environment for them as well. I dare say that the treatment centers that Andrew and I used to run probably trigger people, even though we weren't intending to. And that is so familiar, is it not?
Extremely, unbelievably, extremely familiar. We've got a beautiful picture of these two gentlemen, Christopher Dawson and Andrew Galloway, at the end of the article here. I think that the center that these gentlemen are trying to put together and what they are trying to do is absolutely amazing. And I wish them the absolute best of luck. And I really hope to reach out to these two gentlemen and follow their journey and watch them work to change lives. It's going to be absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely, it is. It so is. Fantastic article. Great to see that happening in my space. Good old Ontario here is going to be the flagship clinic. So I'm definitely going to have to look these two up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I know somebody else is going to be excited about that article.
Absolutely. We've got a guest coming on today. I'm just going to kind of take over here. We've got a guest coming on with us today, somebody who has been with us before, and he works in the psilocybin space as well. He has, I have watched him over the last year or so, work to create his microdoses and help people. I have watched him travel to Mexico on his own healing journey. And then when I was in BC, I had the absolute pleasure and honor of meeting this man and spending time with him and being able to compare our stories and our journeys, and not really compare, but just tell our stories and be able to enjoy what the other one has to say. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you once again to our guest and my friend, Steve Mather. Hi, Steve.
Hello. Wow.
How
Thanks
are
for
you?
that massive, big intro.
Oh, well, I don't think you realize the impact that you have made on not just my life, but a number of lives. You were part of the Psychedelic Frontier documentary, and I know thousands of people have watched that and have been moved and changed. And they're now working on their own journeys, and they're following things and people. And you are one of those people that was on that. And wow, the work you do just fascinates me.
Oh, thank
Absolutely.
you. Yeah, it just started out as me trying to figure out how to get out of the darkness, right? That dark place in your head. So it started out with a lot of research and then reaching out to other people. And I found John, who's also in the documentary, and he motivated me in the microdose aspect and helping other people, and in kind of being a little more public on things. So he was the one that motivated me to do the show as well. Oh, that article. Sorry, while we were on the article you showed, the integration aspect, that is massive. That is a huge part of the actual healing that comes along. And for me, like, I'm months after my last ayahuasca trip, and I find every day I'm integrating something new. I'm finding something that's a little trigger, and now I'm aware. I catch it. It's like, oh, I need to change that behavior. You're not welcome here anymore. I need this to be more. And I have to say that the integration thing is quite massive and something that's lacking in a lot of the plant medicine delivery systems that are out there.
Absolutely.
So that was really nice to receive that article and see that their focus is on the integration, because really, a lot of the healing comes in that integration period.
Absolutely. And going back to that documentary, that was almost something that wasn't for you.
That's right.
Yeah. Yes. At that point, I'd been doing the microdoses for a year or so, or around a year. And panic attacks was one of my go-tos during a PTSD moment or before a PTSD moment. And a lot of times I would say, hey, I'll be there, I'm gonna. And in the last moment, I would suffer a panic attack, and then I wouldn't show up. So I told Patrick and the producers and whatnot that, there was a chance I might not show up, or I might just get up and leave partway through, because during those panic attacks, I really don't have conscious control, or wouldn't have conscious control over the brain. It's just gotta go, need to get away, and just get out and breathe and do your meltdown, whatever is your meltdown procedure that you've put in place. But just in getting through it and not suffering a panic attack and finding the calm I had, it also showed me how far I'd gotten in my healing. And I have to say, the microdosing is massive. And a lot of people think that, I've found people that try the microdosing and they might go a week or 2 weeks and I didn't really notice anything. I'm not feeling anything. That's actually the point. You're supposed to go a distance and then look back and see, oh, I didn't have a panic attack. Oh, my anxiety was way less. Oh, my brain didn't go to those dark places. And and for me, that's what I found. I found for me it was a long journey. I microdosed before going down, to Mexico. I microdosed for a year already. But what it did do is it compressed all of that emotional attachment to a bunch of the traumatic moments, or what my brain had considered traumatic moments, so that I could refile that data into healthier places. Because that emotional attachment sometimes just, it won't allow your brain to file the data. It just keeps coming back and you get emotional and you go, I gotta let go of that. Can't. But that compressing of the emotional attachment to them, that the psilocybin and the, like with mine, I've added in other nootropics and adaptogens so that it gets your brain working on point and focused, delivery of the neurons. And when it finds the damaged areas, the ingredients combined with the psilocybin.
Oh,
he froze. He'll be back in a second, ladies. There he comes.
Hey, are we in Mexico again?
Felt like it, perhaps.
This is way less than the Mexico one. But, at the end of it, before I went to Mexico, I did a 7-gram megadose of the Golden Teachers.
Yeah.
Trying to, with the research I had done, it said, after doing all of that and squashing a lot of the loops and getting control of a lot of that manic part of the brain, that a megadose could possibly do a reset. And so I did a megadose, and I got a partial reset. I didn't get a reset. I got a partial reset that I would have to say killed off panic attacks, or even I would feel anxiety, but I wouldn't feel panic. And then I had to sort through the anxiety to find out what was anxiety and what was anticipation, because I was organizing with my friend Lisa to go to the healing journey in Mexico, and I would resonate in what I thought was anxiety. But it's the same frequency as anticipation. But if all you've known is the anxiety for years, your brain goes, oh, anxiety coming, I'm going to have a panic attack, it's going to go to PTSD. Right. And you actually start to throw yourself into those moments. But
your anticipation of it coming can push you over the edge.
Yes, because you'll automatically look at past ones that happened, and then it just triggers shit off and away you go. But I found that after the megadose, that aspect, I wouldn't even feel the welling of them coming up. It was like, oh, there's a weird calm came over. But the brain would still go to dark places, but I wouldn't panic in those dark places. When we did when we went to Mexico, I did a few journeys. I did a couple changa ceremonies. We did a couple of cacao ceremonies. We did some mushroom ceremonies, and then we went into the jungle to do the Aya. And as a person that's done a lot of psychedelics in his life, I would have to say that, and I haven't done Iboga, but Iboga is, called the father, and Aya is the mother. And I have to say,
Right.
It's unlike anything I've ever done. Anything you try to describe it with will diminish the experience. You cannot do it justice with words. The only thing I can honestly say is it was completely life-changing, and it did do the reset on my brain.
So where mushroom failed, the ayahuasca worked for you.
The mushrooms have their place, but for me, some people find that reset on the brain. My PTSD is like Cindy's. It's CPTSD, and it was built over many years and different episodes, not just abuse from one person, but I was jumped by gangs a couple of times, just out of the blue, not just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and just the little add-ons that came in. So with that, if it's built over years, one can't expect it to just be done.
Right.
So, and that's where I talk about the integration. That integration afterwards is a lot of what repaired the damaged pathways and the self-hurting thought patterns. It kind of clears that out and lets you, like for me, it just, again, if I try and explain it, I just diminish it. How would you
I get everything you're saying.
But we have to try. We have to try for those of us that aren't there yet.
The only way I could say it is the mushrooms, when in the big dose of the mushrooms, it allowed me to view myself and view my patterns, my past in a non-emotional way, so that my brain could look at it, catalog it without the added extra emotional attachment that comes along with PTSD, et cetera. It was able to catalog and sort, and all the info I had gathered and whatnot, the knowledge, it was all here, and it was in the head. After the Aya ceremony, it's all in the DNA. You're no longer thinking it, you're living it. And that's the only way I can explain it.
Right.
It's literally
in you.
At a cellular
It's
level.
in you.
It's not a conscious thought. You're just doing.
Right.
And
Now, the ayahuasca, I have some questions about the ayahuasca. It's very different from the Iboga, but yet it's the same. As you say, one is the mother, the other is the father. Aya is the mother. I know you haven't tried Iboga, but you are aware of the effects of Iboga, and you're aware of the effects of various psychedelics, so you can probably relate to what the Iboga trip would be like. In your opinion, is one harsher on the body than the other?
That's going to depend on the person, because you have to do, for both ceremonies, there's certain things you have to do. You have to cut out certain things out of your diet, certain meats, etc. You've got to try and raise your vibration while taking stuff out that can have any toxicity, because it's going to get it out of you whether you want it out of you or not.
You're talking there about purging, right? And that's what happens, like, with both. From everybody that I've spoken to that has done ceremony with either of these individual products or plant medicines, there's a lot of purging going on. And when I say purging, I mean like from everywhere, right?
Well, and it's different for everybody. I did 5 Aya ceremonies, and everybody I know has thrown up through them. A couple people didn't through 1 or 2. I didn't throw up through any of them. But I have to say, I needed the bathroom pretty harshly. I was purging in a different way. And sweating.
All right. Coming out one way or another, right?
It's coming out. But for a lot of people, especially if you're cheating on your diet and you're thinking they won't know, Well,
Yeah.
The
yeah,
spirit
Aya
knows.
and Iboga know, and it's coming out whether you want it to or not. So,
All
don't
right.
bother trying to cheat. Lesson one.
All
Because
right.
either way,
All
it's
right.
kicking your ass. The Iboga I've followed and I've watched. Now my journey with Aya only happened recently, but I've been chasing Iboga and Aya for a couple of years. I've made the connections. I'd spoke to Gareth before. I've spoke to Mark Howard before. I'd contacted Gerald at Rhythmia, and searching, putting it out. It was like, man, this is where I need to go, and I'm going to keep reaching and trying. And many times it would float in and almost be there and then float out. And it's like, oh, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And, one of the big things I'm learning is the universe has way bigger plans than we can ever have for everything. So sometimes you just got to say, I'm going to go with the flow, and it takes you to the right places, which is kind of, what happened for me. I had a friend of mine say, hey, let's go do some healing ceremonies in Mexico and go on a healing journey and see what we can make happen. And for me, all I have is thank you to Lisa, thank you to the universe, thank you to Mexico for having the ability to have those ceremonies there. In Canada, it's a little tougher to find some of those ceremonies. And those people get pretty flooded up. There's a lot of people hurting right now. There's a lot of people looking for healing. I know I get inundated quite a bit, and really all I could say is this is what I used. So, most of what I did the research, and then I created stuff, which I was using. Everything that I've made is because it was helping me heal, and generally, John has been the one going, hey, dude, we need to, we have a little circle of PTSD sufferers. And, we've shared the products, and I have to say, I've had incredibly emotional moments when people that are sufferers use the product and then, get a hold of me to just tell me how much it's changed their life. How, the words I've heard are, I can see light at the end of the tunnel. You've removed the darkness. I have hope. It actually overwhelms me to hear any of that, and I thank the universe for blessing me with the ability to put it together for people to heal. But in the end,
that's what it's all about, is sharing the information. I mean, you feel better. You want the people you care about to feel better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's honestly, in a world of hurt, it's our duty to share. If there's healing to be had, and you're finding your way out. I'm sure Cindy gets it, and you probably do as well. If you go through the medical system, their job is to give you medicine, and I'm sure we've all had more than our share of the medicines. They go, okay, well, this one works for some people with that. Let's try this one. And if that one doesn't, well, try this one. And, with PTSD and depression and anxiety and stuff, one thing I found common with the medicines is when you read the list of side effects and suicide or sudden death are in there. And it's like, I'm taking these for this. So,
and you're giving me something that's going to trigger that. Great, right?
And, for some people this stuff works. For some people it doesn't. I never found one. Anytime I would take any of the meds, I would find that my anxiety would go up, or that frequency that resonates like anxiety would be all through my body, and it just everything made me so uncomfortable. Or I'd be a drooling mess sitting on the couch, not able to get anything done. So it was let's look up other methods and other ways, and I have to say that the pathway I've been using has been, for me, very, very successful, and I don't have a problem being public. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Krista. That's kind of cool. I like that little thing where it comes across the bottom where people are saying thank you. That's kind of neat. Sorry.
That's
We like
okay.
it too. That's why we do it. Yeah.
But I lost where I was. That totally squirreled.
Krista's thank you got him tickled pink.
You were talking about the fact that you no longer mind being public with your journey and your story.
I do have. I have moments. So I have moments where I go, oh, okay, I don't feel like being public, and I think I'm hiding, as Cindy pointed out to me when she was here in person, because I was telling her, I'm completely inspired by Cindy. I watch her and how vocal she is on her journey, and putting it out there, and it makes me go, yes, I got to do that more. I got to get back there, because as you do it, it's kind of scary, as you start to put things out. More people reach out to you, and you can get overwhelmed. Well, I know I can get overwhelmed pretty easy, but it's.
But doesn't that tell you how many people are hurting? Doesn't that show us the state of our world today? Where if you're on your journey and Cindy's on her journey, I'm on mine. We're vocal about it, and you get this influx of people that come and they're like, what is this? What are you doing? Does it work? Oh, tell me. Oh, here's what and they all want to tell you, here's what I'm going through. And it can get overwhelming. It can get daunting. Because we're all sharing our journeys because we're patients. We're fighting our own battle, which is difficult on its own. But now we have to put this football uniform on and carry the team while we do that. And sometimes it's like, fuck, man, y'all are getting heavy. I can't.
But again, that's just our thought pattern. That's just us thinking that. It's like, let it go, relax, come into it. So,
but sometimes it's like, oh, it's all just too much. And when that happens, that's where I was going with this. When that happens to me, that's when I know I need to do a microdose day.
Yes.
It's time to microdose.
Yes.
Because I'm getting that, I can't do this. Okay, you know what? We got to go fix this right now because you can do this.
Yeah, it's funny how the brain will just throw out the negativity, but then our society is kind of programmed that way as well. So since I got back, even after the Aya ceremonies, I still do the microdoses. How did my doc say it? Stuff in your life is like an open wound. As much as there's the PTSD stuff from the past, there's still things that'll trigger and create other little episodes in the now and in the future. And I found that, when I got back the first couple of weeks, I wasn't doing any microdoses. By about 4 weeks in, I started to feel that resonation of anxiety because the pressures, I'm back in my real environment and the pressures are coming in, the things, the triggers and that are happening. So I found that I had to go back to my microdoses, not near as heavily as I was. Same with, I'm a cannabis user as well, and the fecal oil, the full extract cannabis oil for healing, etc. And like Cindy, I found that afterwards, my tolerance and my dosage is way less. I don't need near as much because before we were using it for a lot of the healing and to quell and quiet and shut stuff down that was going on. But once you've had the ceremonies, it squashed so much of that all of a sudden, when you're healing, you do more because your body requires more. But if a lot of that healing is done and you do more, now you just get real fucking high.
Now you're getting high. You're just getting high. I was going to say that. I'm glad you brought this up because I was going to bring this up through conversations with Cindy, my dear friend Cindy. I love you, Cindy.
Yes,
Um,
and I know she
you
felt the
know,
same
and
way.
yeah,
I saw her post.
she's purged, right? And she kept saying, "Oh, you know, I purged, so now my tolerance is low." And I was sitting and I was thinking about it, you know, and I thought, oh, well, on the days that I'm going to use me as an analogy because that's what I draw from, right? We
Yeah.
draw from our own experience. So on the days, say my pain tolerance is very low because my back is extremely bad. I broke my back in a car accident, so I have good and bad days. On a bad day, I can't straighten up my back. I can't walk straight up and down. I'm hunchbacked. So on a bad day, on that day, I'm eating medibles. I'm taking my tincture. I'm smoking dabs like there's no tomorrow because THC is my pain control. It got me off all of the narcotics. It got me off my fentanyl. It got me off of the opiates that I was on. It got me off all of it. All I do is THC for my pain control. So on the bad days, there's a lot of THC going into my system to control that pain. If I was to eat that same amount of THC on a day that I didn't have that pain, I would be in bed.
Yep.
Yet I'm able to function during the day
I'm glad
on
we're
my high
discussing
dose
this.
days.
A lot of people don't realize that because it is a medicine, and if you're having
That's
a
right.
harsh day that you require more medicine, it works like a medicine. You don't get high,
Absolutely.
Right.
you just relieve the
Absolutely.
pain.
Right. So
Before I
now
did
is
my
Cindy's
ceremony,
tolerance, yeah, is Cindy's tolerance level low now because of the purging and the reset, or is it low now because she doesn't need it?
Well, that's
both.
kind of a combination of both.
Yeah, both, because my pain, I've gotten rid of a lot of my emotional pain, so it's gone.
Well,
I
you've
don't
still got
need
your
to,
physical pain, which the
I
THC will
still
take
have
care of, but
physical.
maybe you don't need as much.
Emotional pain will trigger
And then
physical pain.
one of the things that my ceremony did is my cannabinoid receptors and my endocannabinoid system that, you know, you build up tolerance by just over time. I mean, like they become smaller and smaller and smaller because they get packed with the cannabinoids. So you need more to push through. Mine are stripped. Mine are like, when I came out of Iboga, I was like my cannabinoids were like somebody who's never smoked or ate any cannabis. And my tolerance was low. Because my pain was low. So like, I mean, like, 30 milligrams made me throw up. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. When you're using it for pain, when you're using it to treat something, it doesn't do anything to you. You know, the same can be said for just about anything that we use out there. I mean, I know people that are on the opiate train and, you know, they use high dose opiates to treat their pain. And you think, oh my God, that dose would knock over a horse, yet they're functional. And it's because whatever you're taking, ingesting, is being used to treat what it's there to treat. If you've got something where for it to go, then it doesn't go to your brain. It goes to where it's supposed to go.
I had a friend of mine came forward, a recreational cannabis user, and he, the doctor told him that he had an ulcer, and you know, medicine started going to his ulcer instead of to getting him high. He reached out to me probably about 3 days after he was in pain, like the day he went to the doctor, and he said, Cindy, he was like, you know, my weed isn't getting me high anymore. That's how he spoke. He didn't say cannabis. And I'm like, man, that's because you need the medicine. So if you want to experience that euphoria again, what you need to do is eat 2 or 3 times what you used to, and you will. But your body needs the medicine to heal your stomach.
It's using the medicine. That's right.
Yep.
That's right. It's using it to heal you from the inside out. And when you use natural plant remedy, you're healing, you're giving the body what it's need. I mean, everything on this planet lives in symbiosis. We can't have, you know, we lose a species, then it affects our ecosystem. Everything here lives in harmony and is here for a purpose. Anybody that thinks cannabis isn't on board with that as well, well,
It's
you need
only
to do some
humans that aren't on board.
research. You know, cannabis as well as psychedelics, as well as, you know, I mean, all of it. Like, go back to that article. It's only been in our recent past that psychedelics have become taboo. Prior to that, they were in our pharmacopoeia.
Yep.
Yes.
So, you know, again, pharmaceutical churning its wheels, right, and taking over the space.
The other thing I liked about that article is they talk about the full plant extract, because even in the cannabis healing world, I've watched people refine the CBD, refine the THC, getting the CBG, getting the CBN. Oh, this does this does that. As a person that's been in the back when it was originally called Phoenix Tears or RSO, the Rick Simpson oil, now to the full extract cannabis oil. One of the things I can say is that the most healing I've seen happen through people that were suffering from cancer that went onto the cannabis oil protocol was I just lost my train of thought again.
It must be cannabis time.
Yeah. I haven't done my microdose today either. It was
there's a big difference between whole plant. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. The full extract. The full extract has provided more people healing than people that were told, go to the pure THC and do that, or go to the pure CBD. The most healing I've seen has come out of the full extract. And generally the reason for refining and trying to find active ingredients is so you can synthesize something and patent it. That's usually where that is going. But, the aspect of the full, I really like that they were talking about utilizing the full plant medicine rather than just going for the active ingredients.
Absolutely. We're going to talk full plant extract, and we're going to talk to you more about full plant extract and how that is a part of the psychedelic world as well, which many people probably don't know. It's a thing there too. People are breaking down components in natural medicine all over the place. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Mexico's healing journey, and we're going to talk about you meeting up with Cindy in BC when we come back from our break. We're going to be back with more here on Open Your Eye on the Pace Radio Network. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888. And grow on with CP.
Pace Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains, and when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed, and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And we're back from our medication session, back here on Open Your Eye on the Pace Radio Network with our guest, Steve Mather, my lovely joint host, Miss Cindy Howell.
Hi.
So when we went to break, I'm still coughing up my dab. Oops, cut that one a little too close to the comeback time there.
Well, I was
when we went
over
to break,
add to stream, right?
yeah, I was busy sucking back a second dab. Okay, there we go. So when we went to break, we were talking about full extract medicine, and this is not exclusive to cannabis. This is an issue or something that's evolving in the psychedelic space as well. Can you tell us a little more about that, Steve?
Well, I am noticing that everybody's looking to find the magic molecule that's in everything. So even with the Cindy and I were down at Dana's place, the Cocoa Leaf Cafe on Hastings there, and I was quite amazed to see that you could get DMT tincture. What was the one they had out of the
4-ACO?
4-ACO. It was out of psilocin, which to me I didn't actually realize that you could get that out of the psilocin out of mushrooms. I've been a little busy and not researching deeper into what's been happening recently. But
extraction, right? That's what everybody's into now. Well, it's like, let's tear this down.
Licensed the companies for as well. The companies that have got their licensing in the psilocybin aspect seems to be, most of them are on how to get good extraction for it. And, I'm watching. It's great that we're making moves forward, but there's still a lot of people suffering that but they got to have pride.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know that breaking it down is a good thing. I understand breaking it down for the research aspects and discovering what each molecule in a plant does. But then going on to market individual molecules as medicine, I don't know.
Well, there's so much.
I'm a fan of that.
Time for that to even happen. We've got to learn what each thing does. We've got to, what we do know is right now as a whole plant, it works for a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get
for a lot of
people
things
first, rather than just going, well, we want to find out about and this and da. It's right. Not like this is new. Even when I do mushroom ceremonies, I base them off of research that I've done on ceremonies that were done hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
Right. It's we have a lot of data to help people heal. But we always seem to just be gathering more data and not helping people heal.
Yeah. I've heard people say, well, if we break it down, then I don't need the whole thing. I only need this one part to help this that's wrong with me. I don't know. I think what's wrong with using all of it, and even if nothing else is wrong with you that those other things can fix, what's wrong with creating a better state of homeostasis within your body by treating absolutely everything in your body? Why do you need to just treat one thing? Why can't we treat the whole body all at
Well,
once?
I'm kind of a believer in that aspect, and but it's also good to find out what each of the ingredients is and what they target and go to, because then it's possible that you can find that, oh, this particular strain has got more of this and this to it,
Yeah.
or this,
Yeah.
But for myself, my most success that I've seen in the plant medicine world is when it's the whole plant.
Agreed.
I've
100%
been involved
agreed.
in that cancer cannabis end for many years, and there's I watched them go to the refining and purifying them, and also there's the other part where there's a hassle with strengths and whatnot. People think that they're getting a gram of high content RSO oil or FECO, and sometimes the people are just kind of weasels and they've watered it down a little bit. And if a person's going, I need 60 grams in 90 days as the Rick Simpson protocol to battle my cancer, and they buy 60 grams from somebody that they're really only getting 30 grams of product and 30 grams of MCT oil, they're thinking they're doing everything that they need, and they're only getting half the medicine they require.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an area in the healing end that's, I get that we need standardizations, we need protocols, we need to know what everything does, but at the same time, we need to be helping people heal. And while we do research, people healing seems to be more on the back burner.
Yeah, well, we saw that, not to get political for a moment, but we saw that happen in the cannabis industry. October 2018, we saw, the government more concerned with the recreational aspect and the medicinal aspect of it. The medical people have been standing up and fighting ever since. I mean, we were fighting beforehand, but I feel that we've gotten a little bit louder because I feel like some of our rights were taken from us. I'm very lucky in my life because I have an amazing doctor who understands that. But I have spoken with so many people that their doctors now, I'm not going to sign your prescription. It's legal. Go to the liquor store, because that's where we have to go here in Nova Scotia for legal cannabis.
Yeah, and for us here in Ontario as well, same story. Doctors that were signing for patients have decided they no longer need to do that because you can go to your local shop and you can buy it. So they don't need to write you a prescription anymore. And then you've got the legal producers and the companies that are legally allowed to produce and are supplying all of our legal shops in this country are only solely focused on the recreational community, and the government is facilitating that by putting on a 10 milligram cap on the quantity of THC that's available in our edibles, our medicinal pills, canna caps, and that kind of thing that are sold, which are quite obviously medicinal, even topicals and creams and lotions and that kind of things, which are quite obviously medicinal and not recreational, and they've got 10 milligram caps on them, which does a patient no good. Patients like myself, I mean, I'm at 60 to 100 milligrams per dose, and I dose regularly. So what would that, I'd be leaving with shopping bags daily from our local shop, which would cost more and cost prohibitive as well, because now you're paying for each dose individually. I mean, they've shunned the medical community, which is the community that got us legalization here. And, we've got groups of people that are considered a gray market in the psychedelic space now. Where the cannabis community was 20 years ago is where the psychedelic space people are now. You've got your communities all over the place. You've got your people that gather, everybody talks. You're all doing your own research as shaman and, as teachers and facilitators. People are traveling everywhere and doing the research and getting the education, hands-on learning, helping patients, making product available, developing products for the marketplace. And then along comes Health Canada and says, oh, what you doing here? I fear for this space.
Yes,
Given
but
our
there is a
history.
reason for quality control because everywhere there are weasels.
Yes.
And
The same
there's
can be
people
said
that
in cannabis. We
go for
walked
the
this
buck.
path
Yeah,
already.
yeah. Well, my buddy Gene, who was he was battling cancer last year. He had liver cancer, and we were up on the side of the mountain in the Kootenai growing cannabis. He was doing 7 to 10 grams of fecal oil a day, battling his cancer. Now, if you had to buy that from a government store, one, they don't out here in the government stores, you can't even find what he needs because of that cap. But he's needing 70% higher THC with a high CBD ratio in it, and to be able to get that here, if he wasn't growing and making it, he'd be dead. The other 18 people that had his cancer are dead. He's the only one left alive of the 19 of them that had cancer. While we were up there on the hill, at least every couple of weeks, it would be, oh my God, so-and-so just passed away. He was one of the guys with the liver cancer. And Gene's thing, well, he had to change his diet and get a lot healthier. And I got to say, diet is right there, huge in all of healing. If fix your diet, because it has immense.
Oh, that's everything. That's the building blocks right there, right? I mean, if your diet, you can't be on FICO, you can't be even on microdosing with psilocybin, or with doing iboga ceremonies and ayahuasca, and then leave the retreat and go to McDonald's. It doesn't work that way.
After a ceremony,
no, I know. I understand the difference, but with FICO, it doesn't take that desire away with FICO. So I mean, for comparatively, maybe you don't want to with iboga and ayahuasca, but we can't be doing that. We can't. We have to change your entire lifestyle if you're going to embrace natural medicine and you want to get better. It starts with your building.
Yeah. If you get a disease, it generally comes from habits and environment, so if you want to get rid of it, you got to change the habits and the environment, similar to what we're dealing with, even with PTSD. We're not changing our environment per se as in the physical thing. We're changing the way we view our environment now, because our brain was tricked into viewing our environment in a certain way. As the PTSD grows, so do our patterns of accommodating it and our behaviors that we put in place. And, one thing I have to say about finding the plant medicine and doing it and having it break down what you thought was your vision of reality. Because as we grow, we build a vision of who we are and a perception and what we think other people think of us, and what we're trying to put out as to who we are and how people see us. And we're working real hard on making that stuff happen and creating, but we're creating from a place of damage, because we're creating around the damage that's been done and the PTSD that's hiding and the fear and the scare. So you modify, but when it all comes apart and you get to watch what you thought was your reality dissolve in front of you, it's scary as hell. I'll tell you, it's scary as hell, because now you go, who the fuck am I? If that's not who I was, I'm not the audio guy.
Then I'm lost.
Well, who am I? Well, the advantage is, now you consciously know that you get to build your new avatar. You get to go, oh, I'm not going to do those patterns that I put in place. I'm going to choose this. And you get to actually become who you want to be by choice, rather than who you had to be by the patterns that you had to implement so that your brain would think you were safe.
See, now that scares the shit out of me.
No, it may be scary as hell, and I have to agree with Steve on that. Like, holy fuck, your ego's gone. Your fears are gone. Your anger's gone. Now you got to turn around and look at yourself and go, holy fuck, who am I? But as scary as that is, it's so fucking exciting.
Because the best part is, when you get to go, oh, I'm whoever and whatever I feel like creating.
Well, I've been this person for almost 60 years. All
that would happen is you would be a better, healthier, self-serving person. Exactly how you are.
Exactly.
Just any of the patterns that were caused by damage or fear release, which just makes more room for love. It makes more room for healthy energy. But I can say that it is scary because you sit there and you go, you know, we're taught, we're programmed to define ourselves around what they program for. You're supposed to have this job. You're supposed to have this stuff. You're supposed to. It's all bullshit. We made all that shit up. What you're supposed to have is a fucking caring heart, and you're supposed to help your brother or your sister raise up and be happy and healthy. People aren't on this planet to suffer. That's a fucking shitty program that's been out there. And we're not here to do that. And honestly, I'm learning that suffering is a choice. It's my viewpoint. I can look at certain things in my life and suffer from it, or I can look at it and go, hey, these are the opportunities within this chaos for myself and the others I'm sharing this time with to advance ourselves and to be better people.
Absolutely.
The Aya say, like, Aya spoke to me, and one of the things
I've heard that from everyone that's done this, and I find that very interesting. It's a she and it's an entity, right?
Yes,
she's a spirit,
which is strange, and it's all that is female and male. It's everything, so it will appear to you in the way you need it to listen. But as far as I can understand, the Aya is the female energy of it, and the Iboga is the male. So Iboga is more of an ass kick and not quite as gentle. And some people just need a more serious ass kicking, Cindy.
Somebody needs to talk to daddy, and somebody needs to talk to mommy.
And I'm a mama's boy. So I went in there and she said certain things that were life changing for me. One was, fear only exists in a brain. There's no fear anywhere else. It only exists in a brain. Therefore, it's actually not real. It's made up. It takes a brain to make it up. So in learning that and being able to file that properly in my brain, I've been able to consciously quell the fears that might come up, because I now know it only exists in my brain, and that there was a couple things that were told to me, and one was everything that's been created has been created from a place of love. And I had my doubts and I had my questions, and I got called a puny, arrogant little human, and I was shown that being a logical guy and questioning, I said, well, how can you prove that to me? And she said, well, you've done a lot of studying, you know a lot of stuff, you know that when you're in love, you can get angry. Yes, when you're in love, you can get mad. When you're in love, you can hate somebody. Love can create that if you don't know how to love properly or how to use love properly. But hate or darkness can't create the love. Everything can be created from a place of love, but not everything can be created from the place of hate. You can't create love from a place of hate. So it was kind of Aya's way of showing me why everything would come from a place of love. And for me, I needed to find a little peace in knowing that when we leave this vessel and our energy goes back into the universe, it's all about that place of love. Everything goes to the place of love. And I kind of questioned, again, being a puny, arrogant human. I was like, oh yeah, okay. So if everything comes from a place of love, what about what we deem as horrifying, right?
Yeah.
Like murderers, etc. And she said, everything is about positive and negative flow, or what we, that negative is a bar that we draw as humans. But as that energy that creates all, it doesn't create that bar of this is good and this is bad. It's negative and positive energy creating flow so that everything can be created. And in that, it loves everything, or as I was talking to Aya, she loved everything exactly how it is, and can change or modify anything it needs to, but it loves everything how it is. And I had a hard time with grasping that. So she put it kind of simple. I have a boy that's a gamer, and she said, your boy likes that game, Grand Theft Auto. I said, yeah, loves playing that game. Runs through the game, running people over, runs over the mother with her child, runs over the cop that's trying to get, and she said, do you think the person that created that game cries every time the mother gets run over with her child, or cries when that person gets shot? Or no, the person that created the game created it out of love and loves everything about the game. And in that comparison, it was enough for my brain to grasp the concept of everything coming from a place of love, and that all of that energy that we have in this planet that gives us this life and this ability to be these avatars and experience this is our way of also giving back to that essence of life, gets to experience everything it created, because we're just a piece of that frequency. It's all encompassing all frequency. And we're just these little individual frequencies that get to experience what's been created and let the creator experience it as well. And
so human choice. Somebody chose or picked up on the negative energy, and that's the path that they chose.
Yes, and at any point in time, because we only actually live in the now, we keep our brains in the past and in the future. That's what creates our anxiety and anticipations and fears, is we're looking in the future, looking in the past. But really, all we ever have is that minute fraction of a second of now that is our reality. And every one of those fractions of a second, we can consciously choose to generate love and not fear. But it's retraining your patterns and fixing the bastardized patterns we picked up so that we can do that.
Well, generally people that are full of hate and rage, there's reasons behind that.
They're the most hurt.
Nobody is just born hating. That's a learned experience.
That's been accumulated and learned behaviors that have been.
That's right.
And that's why they say when you do a journey like Cindy did or like I did, you're healing the DNA of your whole family line.
Yeah.
You're not just healing yourself, because that spirit of in there, the damage that comes because other people were damaged. It's just healing. Anything I try and say is not going to say it as it needs to be said.
Gonna switch gears here a little bit. Okay, time to change gears just a little bit. We're gonna pop over to Cindy and her recent trip to DC, which was quite the trip for Cindy. We get into more on that in 2 weeks' time when she comes back for her full interview with me to speak about her Iboga experience. But we're going to touch on it just a little bit with you because you guys got a chance to meet up. So
we did.
Tell us about
which was
that.
Awesome. Which was absolutely awesome, because
it was fantastic. Yeah.
Just online up until we actually were able to get a big hug in.
Yeah. It was spectacular. Kim, you muted yourself. I hope you know.
Yeah, I did, because I was coughing.
Oh, okay. While in BC, of course, I mean, like Steve was one of the people that when I was heading, I definitely had to meet him after watching him on the documentary, and and then having a friendship online and watching his ceremony and knowing what I was going up there and going to do. I really felt a draw that that we had to meet and be in the same space physically.
Yes.
And when we did, we sat at the Amsterdam for quite a few hours, just sitting there chatting. And then the next time we got to sit together, I think it was about 4:00 in the morning when we said, well, we should finally get some fucking sleep. When you end up in the same space as somebody who has gone through one of these ceremonies, and I mean, every single word that Steve just said, every word that came out of his mouth, every explanation that he said, man, I'm just not giving it justice. It's like, I feel it right here. I got it. There was justice with me because I understood, even though we had different types of experiences, I understood everything he said. And it's pretty glorious to have gone through this. And I can look at Steve and say, oh my God, Father Iboga hugged me, and he knows exactly. I don't have to explain the scenario to him and what I saw. His hair stand on end, and he knows what I'm talking about, and he understands that overpowering feeling of love and acceptance and worthiness. And it's pretty glorious to have a chat with somebody that understands the ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you were over the moon. We talked after you guys met, and you were just over the moon about it, and you were meeting again. And so I mean, it seems you became family. You're because you experienced it.
That's kind of how that's what happens. Actually, you literally you become family. It's an awesome thing. And it was awesome going over to Michelle's and hanging out over there. That was a beautiful environment for you to be situated in for the after part and the healing after, the quietness.
Absolutely. Sitting under palm trees and banana trees. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except for overheating and eating too much cannabis.
Yeah. So when are you coming out for yours, Kim?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, just so you know, Lisa is working on putting together trips to the place we went to in Mexico for people to have the ayahuasca healing if they don't feel like getting their ass kicked by a boga.
Okay. All right. All right.
I'm
I'll
gonna
tell
go
you
down
what
and
I
visit
am interested. What I am interested in. I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant about the ayahuasca and the iboga. I'm a very strong-minded person. Extremely strong-minded.
They'll kick
person.
that right out of you.
He put the medicine in my hand and said, "Okay, take it." And I'm kind of like, I was hesitant right up until it went down my esophagus. Yeah.
Well, I can honestly
I don't.
After every ceremony, I went, I'm never doing that again. And then, either 2 days or a week later, there I was. No, I need to do that again. I need more info. Oh my God, it's just, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not new to the drug world. I'm almost 60 years old, and I started experimenting with psychedelics in the 1970s. So I'm very familiar with the psychedelic world, and I'm very familiar with a lot of drugs.
But this stuff is unlike anything you'll have ever done.
Well, I get that. But where I was going with this is in all of my experiences with drugs over the years, and I've tried pretty much everything out there that was available recreationally from the 70s through the 90s. If it was out there, I probably tried it. But in all of my experiences, people talk to me about, floating in outer space and this and that, and they go on this trip and they went away and they came back and blah, blah, blah. I had done a lot of shit and large quantities of a lot of shit. My brain, though, I don't know, I never tripped like that on anything. I've always got one little toe is on the ground, I wouldn't let myself go. I wouldn't let myself get that high. I have a very high control over what I'm going to do and where I'm going to go. And I never, ever let myself get that high. And from what I understand, there's no choice in the matter with the stuff that you guys are talking about. And that's fucking terrifies the shit right out of me. I don't know. I just don't know.
But in the end, when you come back, you're right where you were when you took off.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just better.
But that's why I'm going slow. I microdose. I do macrodoses and microdoses. I use psilocybin. I use magic mushrooms. I use 2 different varieties of magic mushrooms. I grow my own mushrooms.
Nice. Nice.
And I know what I'm eating. So, you know, I play with that, and I've watched people's experiences. I've been researching it in the space and talking to everybody I can talk to, and watching Cindy and going through her journey. And there is one now that intrigues me, and that's the DMT. I can see me doing that.
I can't say anything for 2 weeks. I wanted to, oh man, this like opens up.
I know.
To just kind of go.
I know. I know.
I'll tell you all about
2 weeks. Come back, and Cindy's going to share her experience. And as I said, I've researched this all the way through and watched and spoken and thought and searched and reached deep into my soul on all of it. And I'm still not there to say yes to iboga or ayahuasca, but I am most definitely there to shake hands with DMT. Yeah.
One thing I've got to tell you. One thing I've got to tell you. I got to correct the way you speak of DMT. You know, DMT does not shake your hand. DMT embraces you with love.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm ready to go find out about that. That one I'm in. I'm in. For sure. I think from everything I've learned about it and spoken to about it and heard about it, I think that's the next step for me. And if ayahuasca or iboga or peyote or any of the others are on the list in my journey, I think I'll know that after the DMT.
Yes.
But for anybody that's truly nervous about 100% letting go in the psychedelic world, it really it gives you that confidence. DMT, you know, it's gonna put your ego to sleep, and it's gonna give you the trust and the confidence in letting go. And you know, iboga, peyote, ayahuasca, they work best when you can let go. And
yeah,
DMT
and right now I can't. I would fight it. If I was to do ayahuasca or iboga, I would fight it. I know I would, because it's inset in my head. I can't let go. I never have been. I have been trying for 60 fucking years. And so, I mean, you know.
DMT is basically part of everything, but the DMT I'm speaking of is actually frog medicine. And we can, we'll actually learn more about that in a couple of weeks when I bring on my practitioner.
Yes. Yeah, I'll show that question there. Is DMT part of ayahuasca, correct? And
yes,
what's that?
Somebody's asked, DMT is a part of ayahuasca, right? And it's like, yes, that is, you know, one of the active ingredients within it.
Yeah, DMT is definitely, it's part of everything. But the 5-MeO that I took, it actually it comes from a frog.
Campbell.
The bufo.
Bufo,
yeah.
Right.
Bufo frog, yeah.
Bufo? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Campbell,
and Jacinthe Jet, otherwise known as JJ, she's on the same page as me, apparently. So there you go.
Yes.
There are a few of us that, you know, I mean, the plant remedies, the ayahuasca, the iboga, they're fantastic. They're phenomenal at what they do for helping patients. But if the patient isn't ready for it to embrace it, it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's
you'll definitely be struggling, but it's going to make you face the shit whether you like it or not.
Right. So with the journey that I'm on, I don't need a spanking and I don't need to be forced into anything. I want to get there
Well,
on my
here's
own
the thing, though.
slowly.
You're already facing it in a way anyway, because the stuff you have to face is stuff from your past, and then you're now currently modifying your behaviors around something from your past. So you're already facing it, but not in a healthy, functional way. So when you do actually look at it, go through it, refile it, all your behaviors will automatically change that are caused by whatever it is you've had to face, because now you can consciously modify those behaviors. Because when you come out of it, you see the trigger, you see the pattern, you go, oh, look at that pattern. Oh, I have to fix that. Or for me, I was able to anyway. I'm adjusting patterns almost every day, but it wasn't until I consciously faced what caused my PTSD that I could get rid of what caused my PTSD. So whether I faced it or don't face it, it's still working, causing my behaviors.
You highlighted that, so I feel I need to reply. They are two completely different types of DMT. They both embrace you in love, but they are very, very different. The DMT that can be extracted is called Changa DMT. And it gives you a beautiful experience. I can go out and make some or pick some up, and I feel completely safe using it alone. The 5-MeO DMT that I did, that is frog medicine. Do not do it alone. It's really, really pretty crazily intense, beautifully intense. But that's just something that I really feel I need to say. Iboga, ayahuasca, 5-MeO DMT, peyote are not. They're not plant medicines to take alone.
Yeah. All of these things we should we're getting to the end of the show. So let's go there in closing. We've talked a lot about various plant medicines. Cindy, your iboga journey that we're going to highlight in 2 weeks' time. Steve, you traveled down to Mexico and you met Aya on your ayahuasca journey. Myself, I'm just using the low dose mushrooms, so I'm safe on my own. We've had a great conversation about DMT and the various versions thereof that are out there. All of these things are available widely for pretty much anybody to purchase anywhere. I mean, we talked about how stuff is available on the internet that shouldn't be. Should people just go out and buy this stuff, Steve, and say, yeah, go on a trip and meet ayahuasca? Is that how you do it?
Well, I was on a hunt for a long time. I couldn't find anything other than the mushrooms, which is why I did the mushrooms for as long as I did, and the mushrooms got me ready for the journey. I have to say that if I hadn't have been, doing what I did with the mushrooms, the journey would have been a lot scarier for me. But again, it's all out there, but I wouldn't utilize any of them by myself, because by having people that are facilitators, shamans, health practitioners, whatever it is to keep you safe in the event of, that's always a good thing, because if you're dealing with dark places, the dark places are going to come up. And it's nice to have people there that if you're starting to go into too dark, they can just adjust the course and bring you back over to the light. And also afterwards, you have someone to talk to for the integration, because a lot of what'll happen, you can't process it. You've got to communicate to get a lot of it to process properly. And having someone that is familiar with the experience or has been through a bunch of the journeys, they have info and tools in the toolbox to help you with what you're doing.
Right.
So I would say, I'm sure there's people that do it on their own, and I'm sure there's successful people doing it on their own. It's not something I would choose to do on my own. I've done a lot of psychedelics on my own, but this is a different realm. It truly is. I don't know how to explain it, honestly. I just, because in the end, you're still sitting in the place, and it had to all be in your head, but
yeah, but it wasn't.
Place.
Yeah,
right.
But it wasn't. But it
no,
wasn't.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I give out, like, because John has talked me into, we've created the products that we use, the at ease, and we just recently put up the www.at-ease.com. And more than anything, the reason I got that up is I get a lot of people looking to me for info. And this way they can get to there, they can just drop the thing so that they can leave me a message, and I can, I know where that's from rather than the rest of my life.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got shout out time for you for that. So I'm just going to, 1 second. Cindy, my final thoughts, I guess, for today can't wait for 2 weeks time so you can speak more to this. But same thing that I said to Steve there, I guess, now that you've gone through this journey and you are a consumer of low-dose psychedelics such as, i.e. psilocybin, doing our low-dose mushrooms and our microdoses and all of that. Now that you've done iboga, is this something that you think anybody should do on their own?
Iboga? Hard no. It's amazing, but iboga, I'm not sure what ayahuasca or peyote do to your body, but iboga brings down your blood pressure and it brings down your heart rate. It makes you massively dizzy. So being alone while that's going on and trying to move about is almost crazily impossible. And I'm really glad that I had people quite literally to let me just hold on to them, and they, while my eyes were closed, so I didn't get too dizzy. So yeah, I would be absolutely terrified just for that reason of falling over or physically hurting myself. As for I very easily let go, so I don't know about the dark spaces. I did hear reports of if people don't want to let go, it can get kind of scary for them. So you might want somebody there to hold your hand for that. Past psychedelics I've done, whether it be the ACO DMT or I have done LSD, I have done various mushrooms. Yeah, I would probably do those and feel quite comfortable in doing them. Yeah. The first time I did any of those, though, I was around people, for my first, big high on any of them. Psychedelics are wonderful. The big advice is research where you're getting them. Make sure you're getting good, clean meds. Make sure you're getting proper meds. Make sure you're getting proper information. And there is a lot of information out there. You just have to look for it.
Yeah. And I'm going to close that off by saying, if you're brand new to this space, if you did not experience psychedelics in your youth or in years gone by, if you are a complete newbie and you've never done psychedelics before, even if you're considering mushrooms as a microdose, the first few times you do it, have a friend around. Just do yourself a favor and have a friend around until you know what the experience is like, and you know what to expect, and you know how to handle it when it happens. I'm going to say thank you for joining us today. Again, our first repeat guest, and give you an opportunity to do a shout out. Highlight your company's people, place, thing, medicine websites. Now's the time.
Okay. Well, John and I have the products we created, which is at ease. We've got an evening blend. We've got the daytime blend, and we have a lion's mane blend. All three of them were products that were designed and, I created them for me. And I started the first one, and then it was, well, I want one I can take in the evening and still be able to sleep, not have the extra energy. So I did a bunch of research and put that one in. And then over the last year, all the research on lion's mane and the regeneration of brain tissue and nerve endings and stuff, I created another blend that also has more nootropics and adaptogens in it, et cetera, that have been changed. All I can say is it's changing lives, because the people that have tried them contact me and say, thank you very much for changing my life and showing that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and, making my life better. And,
That's
and
amazing.
all I can say is thank you. Thank you. And I'm honored to be a part of helping people heal, because I know walking through my dark places, scary shit. And it's nice to be walking in the light and sharing love.
That's awesome. Hooray. That's awesome. Fantastic. And I mean, when we find a formulation through our own journey that works for us, we're compelled to share that, right?
Oh, again, our website. I just got it up yesterday. It's I wanted to have an email place for people to get a hold of us through this. www.at-eze.com or eze.com. In there, you can at least drop a message, and John or myself will get a hold of you. We also have the 3 grams of chocolate mushrooms. That was where John started his microdosing, was through the mushrooms, and then through me, we've added the adaptogens and nootropics and whatnot for just the extra cognitive enhancement and making things happen. So I'm honored to be a part of your show, and the website will be a place that I'm dropping lots of information in. There'll be lots on nootropics, lots on adaptogens, lots on how the psychedelics work and they heal, published documents. It's slow and steady, but it'll get there.
That's amazing. I look forward to it.
Yeah, we will make sure to post the website in the Open Your Eye room on Facebook as well. So you guys don't necessarily have to remember that. We'll post it and share it in the room.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll throw it up on the group page. Thank you so much for being our first returnee, Steve. It was great to chat you without all the glitches.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to when I get to meet you, because I got to meet Michelle. I got to meet Cindy, so Kim's the last one to meet.
Yeah, she's the last one on the list.
I'm the last on the list.
Maybe you can convince her to come for a DMT treatment. You can meet her then.
Ah.
Yeah.
Life-changing. The only word that give it any justice is life-changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk. We'll talk. We'll talk. Thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate you being on this show, and I look forward to meeting you, and maybe at the Karma Cup. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today on Open Your Eye on the Pace Radio Network. You can find us here twice monthly on the 2nd and the 4th Tuesday of each month, but we'll be in a brand new time slot starting in September, launching at 7 p.m. on our Tuesday dates. Same time, same station, same place, but new time slot. So we will see you 2 weeks from tonight with Cindy's story on her journey to BC and all that entailed. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time, folks. Until then, peace out.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
The People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network provides its listeners with news, information, and a place to be heard. This is done with a twice-weekly broadcast of the Reefer Reporters and by providing cannabis advocates a place to be heard through Cannabis and Coffee to Marijuana and the award-winning Pace Radio Show. Catch it all here at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains, and when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed, and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
What is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network? It's a network of people advocating cannabis education.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888 and grow on with CP.
Who has huge buds? You do. If you shop at BMA Hydroponics, attend one of BMA's educational seminars and learn the secrets of growing, harvesting, processing, and consuming quality cannabis and cannabis products. Learn how to make better extracts, edibles, and medicinal creams at prices you can afford. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive, Belleville, or call 613-967-9888.
The only way to go.
We are People Advocating Cannabis Education here at paceradio.net.